I taught Tom's class as a visiting teacher. I always enjoyed teaching in his classroom. He was 9 years of age. Tom had had a diagnosis, but it didn't stop his confidence. Very often, he would have to process the question before giving me an answer, which was absolutely fine. Looked at the work that Tom was asked to do. It was approximately 4 years below his age group. But to me, there was a bit of a paradox because he was very articulate and wrote beautifully when given the opportunity. And in this particular classroom, there were lots of children wriggling in their chairs and some were struggling to focus. But I noticed that Tom, with his additional learning needs, seemed to be the most grounded. He was always showing me good looking, good listening. He was a pleasure to teach, and I decided I wouldn't teach that day, and I began to talk to the children about their brains. I talked to them about their mind and how we learn forward and what it means to sit still and how we learn. We learn forward, so we want to be learning from our creative brain. We want to be learning from the frontal lobe. We want to start firing those neurons with lots and lots of creativity, problem solving, and we want to be a part of that. And I noticed the smile on his face as I was talking to the classroom. And he put his hand up. And as I was going into how the brain works a little bit more and how we can manage our emotions and what self-regulation means, he interrupted me and said, "Mrs. King, I know all about that." My eyes widened as if to say, "Tell me more." He said, "Yes, when I go home, I like to research about the brain. I like to know about the anterior cerebral artery that supplies the tissue behind the forehead and under the crown. And he said, I also know that there is the middle cerebral artery, which is important for the sides and the areas that further side of our brain. I know about the anterior and the middle cerebral artery that are split off from the internal carotid artery. It's like a blood vessel, miss." You can imagine the silence that was in the classroom. He took the opportunity to share what he had gathered and what he had learned when he began to use creativity. Creativity is powerful. And the more he talked, the more the class was engaged. His friend sitting next to him quietly slipped his hand up and announced when I asked him to speak. He said, "Miss, I've never heard him speak like that before. I didn't know he was so brainy, miss." We all smiled, including Tom. He said, "Yes, because I like to research. I like to learn things that I can learn and take it as far as I need to all by myself. I like my space, miss," he said. "I like to be given the opportunity to explore how things work, to research and find it out. And I do this all the time, miss, at home with my dad." I asked the class to applaud him. And applaud him they did, because that day we learnt so much more about him that was never known before. Using creativity is one of the skills that your child would really need as we move forward. Give them the opportunity to learn and explore, to grow and to thrive. That's where they're leading. You may be following, but you can guarantee it's going to lead somewhere exciting. In the right setting, your child will thrive as you give them the opportunity to explore and problem solve.